Hey guys, Zephyrnix here, and my cousin actually emailed me a while ago and wanted to know my opinion on a certain game that's coming out called Heavy Rain. In itself, basically, it's going to be a great game. Now, to really talk about Heavy Rain, you kind of have to go back into the past days of the PlayStation 2, the Xbox, and you got to look at a game called Fahrenheit it's called Fahrenheit in the UK. Now, basically, the game was designed for you to basically live the life of three people, just like Heavy Rain. You're in control of three people, and you're basically to the point where you have to solve this particular murder. Now, of course, there's a lot of the story was great, but it was a little bit weird. Let's just put it that way. The masses weren't ready for it, in my opinion. The masses weren't ready for it. Fahrenheit was a game that was released, and to make it worse, it was released to a public that wasn't ready for it. Let me just put it that way. Now, if Fahrenheit was released in this day on the right system, it would definitely do a lot better. But we'll get into that in a minute. Now, let's go ahead and move to, as you guys know, Fahrenheit was released again under the name Indigo Prophecies. Now, of course, Indigo Prophecies was kind of like a cut version of Fahrenheit. So what happened is people found out about that and they weren't really happy about it. So then they re-released Indigo Prophecies as a game called Indigo Fahrenheit, the Indigo Prophecies Director's Cut, or something like that. Basically, you can still pick this game up on the Xbox 360 for about 20 bones. It's actually a pretty good game. Now, graphics, of course, don't hold up to this day, but remember, it's not really about the graphics, it's about the gameplay. The gameplay consists of a gameplay where, like, you had to make choices right then and there, and those particular types of games were made popular by games like Dragon Age and Time Girl, which was on, the Sega CD, and a couple of games like that. Another game, of course, ironically enough, my cousin said the same thing what I'm about to say here, but the game actually has a little bit of elements such as like Shamu. I don't know if you guys remember Shamu. I'm probably saying it wrong too. Shamu was a game on the Dreamcast in which consists of a guy named Rio who had to solve wanted to get revenge on his father. Revenge against the guys who murdered his father. So in itself, you had a couple of cutscenes here and there, and it was really good. Now this game, let's go back into the present now. The game that we're talking about right now is called Heavy Rain, and what it does is it does something a little bit different. It does do cut time. It does do some cut time videos, and quite well, I might add. I noticed. I looked at the kind of how to put this. I was looking at the videos, and one video was in case with one guy who was actually fighting like the boyfriend or something like that. I forget exactly what it was, but I was really impressed at how the cut time flowed. Now, mind you, it's been a while since we really got to see a good cut time video with the graphics looking that good. But yeah, it definitely was incredible. I mean, I was really surprised at it. Another scene in which I saw was one where the same guy who was fighting the cop, the store was getting robbed, and he had to go ahead and basically deal with the situation. Now, one thing I like about this particular game is that you get to choose how you want to handle the situation, and there is no right or wrong way. It is basically the true essence of an RPG, where you get to choose how you want to do this. It's an essence that's been lost in RPGs for a very long time. I mean, sure, you get to choose who you want to fight first or things of that nature, but you don't really get to choose how to. I mean, it's just a couple of things missing here, but let me give you an example of how this goes. Now, first of all, yeah, the guy's getting robbed, the store's getting robbed, right? And the guy doesn't see you. So you have a choice now. You can go and look for items and wherever it is. So you can go to the left-hand side of the aisle or maybe to the right and sneak up behind him. And on your way, you might find certain things you can pick up, such as, in this case, a frying pan or maybe something else. And then there might be obstacles in your way. And I got to say, this part really, really blew my mind. The PlayStation 3 controller, of course, has the pressure sensitive buttons. So you had to use those to your advantage. So you had to slowly press the X button and slowly press the circle button and then slowly press the triangle button. Because what happened was he was trying to step over some chips and he couldn't make a sound, so he had to slowly do it, and which blew my mind. I was like, oh, fast. epic right there, you know. The Xbox 360 does not have pressure sensitive buttons, by the way, for those who were wondering. So in that particular case, I don't think you'll be able to see this particular game on the Xbox 360, not without some modifications. But anyway, so what happened was is then you go ahead and say, like, you might be able to actually to attack the robber, or you might not. Maybe the robber, in this particular case, the robber turned around and he pointed the gun at the guy. He was like, stop moving, right? He's like, drop it. And the guy dropped it. He's like, put your hands into the air. So now you're at a choice now. You have to, I'm going to use the Xbox 360 controller because, you know, I have a PlayStation controller in hand. What you had to do is you had to take the right and left analog sticks as controlled by your hands, as, you know, and you had to choose, you know, to bring your hands up slowly or bring your hands up too fast, maybe. Maybe that would have been a problem. He never did that, but bring your hands up slowly in order to, you know, not to get the guy upset. Or don't even raise your hands at all and see what happens. Now, the guy did two scenarios, basically like that. One, he didn't raise his hand, and the guy got shot. Didn't die, but he got shot. And another one is the guy actually raised his hand and talked him into leaving. And the whole scene was intense, and, you know, it was amazing. It was amazing. I have not seen a good style RPG like this since Indigo Prophecies and Fahrenheit, and I have to admit we're missing it. Though that's something that we really need again. I've been looking for games for a while now. It's one of the reasons why I actually was looking at the 360 from the beginnings, because I was hoping that with the 360 having a little bit of the Dreamcast in the background, hopefully that a game that we will be able to see will be Shenmue 3. However, that's not to be. So I guess we're just stuck with Shenmue 1, which, by the way, I still play. However, mind you that Heavy Rain is definitely a good buy. Now, granted, there's two problems with this, and I gotta voice my opinion on this. There's two problems with Heavy Rain, not the game at all. One, the problem is that you're not going to be able to. It's not going to sell well. It's not going to sell well, and it's sad it's not. Why? Because a lot of people are not going to really get the game. They're not going to understand the game. Okay? They're not going to understand how the game is played and whatnot, and some people are just going to be ignorant to just the side of the game. Long and short of it, as Infinite Retro said, this gaming industry right now is all about shooting this and shooting that, which it has been for a while. So a lot of people are not going to understand the essence of Heavy Rain and how good it really is. And second, well, we all know there's no sense of beating a dead horse about the PlayStation 3 and its sales, and you know how pretty much the game sells. Its best-selling game only sold about 4. So 4 million, by the way. So yeah, factor in both of those, I suspect Heavy Rain is going to sell about 2 million, maybe 3 million, and it sucks. Be honest with you, I plan to purchase Heavy Rain even without a PlayStation 3. All jokes aside, just to have the game, just because I support not only this particular type of genre, but I support the developers, Quantum. I support them this much because they did a hell of a job on the original Fahrenheit, that I can bring them. I put them in a perspective like I put BioWare and, you know, well, I would say Obsidian, but you know, they kind of, well, anyway, yeah, I guess Obsidian, basically BioWare. I put them in there, where with BioWare, I won't even have to look at a review. I don't need a review. I don't need, all you need to tell me is that this game is by BioWare. Okay, I will buy it. That's all it is. That's just for me, though. That's just for me. Heavy Rain, it won't be a very good selling title. I will say that. It won't be. The numbers prove it. At the same time, it is going to be a game that it's going to be a hidden gem, basically. Now, don't get it twisted. I hope to God I am so wrong. These guys deserve it. I haven't even told you guys about graphics yet. I haven't told you about anything but just one particular part. I hadn't even touched on anything else yet. The sound quality, the graphics, I haven't even touched on that yet. I've only talked about one particular character out of 4 or 6, I think it is, that you get to control. I've only talked about just I can't even explain it anymore. Anyway, so Teamy, you asked me what do I think about Heavy Rain? That's basically that's basically what I think about Heavy Rain. It's a fantastic game. You need to buy it. You will enjoy it. I promise you, you will like it. You will enjoy it. However, it won't sell that well because, like I said before, because of the sales that the PlayStation does now versus the fact that it's not a shooter. It's not the genre that a lot of people just not going to understand it. And it's sad that people won't open their eyes up to this particular type of gameplay. This is epic and awesome, but what else? What are you going to do, right? You guys have a good night.